And welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us again on Battery Insiders here now in London. Super excited to be here together with Katherine, first time in person. Wonderful to see you and be here at the Energy Week, which is hosted by TDK Ventures, you can see from her west as well, and also climate investors. So that's really, really exciting. It's been a fantastic event. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you so much for joining Energy Week. This is our first hybrid in-person event, and also our first event in London. We used to have it in Boston, in San Francisco. This is the first time coming to Europe, and align with our new fund EX1, that we hope to open an office in London to continue explore energy transformation and also climate, clean tech investment in Europe.
Exactly, and we know each other for some time, which is really nice.
Yeah.
To finally get a chance.
Finally in person.
to be in person.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a really fascinating world, right, of investing. I think we have quite a few listeners from all kinds of different subjects, from technology, of course. We speak a lot about technology on this podcast, but also policies and all these kind of other connected topics. But of course, we also talk about how money is quite crucial, especially when we, talk with startups, bring startups on this podcast. So I just would love to kind of, pick your brain a bit on, from an investing perspective, you as an investor, what do you think is really exciting right now? And maybe also because what has happened the last year, maybe since last Energy Week? What are some of your observations, trends you might see?
Sure. I feel like energy investment or battery investment, or probably we can continue to expand to the climate tech, clean tech, is getting more and more hot topic. And then we're seeing, for example, I'm also doing some research on the mega funds, meaning more than 1 billion AUM, big fund. Especially in London, especially in last 1 and 2 years, we see another 3 new mega funds started in London. And then there's also several in US as well. But we're seeing, even though the macroeconomic is a little bit challenging, however, we're seeing the private segment, the money raised to invest in the clean tech area is continue going strong. So more and more people, even they are not in the clean tech or energy segment before, are putting their money in. They want to join the journey. They want to join the game, because the whole story of energy transformation is happening everywhere, every country, every continent, US, China, Europe. And then the goal of driving the global economic to go green, to go net zero, is already a common mission. I would say a common mission for from every country. Yeah.
And maybe to follow up on that, because you mentioned these different countries, right? And I guess you're rather international in your fund there. And you have quite a presence also in the US. And just wondering, where do you think is, who's leading, right, in this climate space? And also maybe from, what do you get excited about? Is it a lot in the US now with Inflation Reduction Act? Is it more Europe now because you're moving off some facilities here? So I'm just curious to get your perspective there. Or maybe it's in Asia, maybe China, Japan, etc.
Yeah, I would say just like what we discussed these 2 days in Energy Week London, each different geographic areas has their own advantage or the things that they're doing good at, and then things that they need to catch up. For example, China, I would say they are very first movers in this whole electrification process. Back to 20 years ago, there's already the very original battery companies like ATL, CATL, BYD already emerging, started their business in China. And then I think in around 2010, there's a Chinese government kind of whitelist of from the regulatory perspective for enforcing the procurement to only buy batteries made in China, and also followed with a lot of subsidies and also incentivize for people to buy EV. So both on the production side, demand side, and then really close a loop of what happened in China in the past 10 years on the electrification. So that's why we see China on the road right now. You already see more than 30% of EVs. In some cities like Shenzhen, I just go back to China in September, all the commercial vehicles, all the taxis, all the small little buses, large buses, heavy duty trucks are all electrified. Very impressive. And they are 10 more brands, new brands I never heard about, are all making very high quality EV in China. But in US right now, our electrification rate is only like single digit, 6%, 7%. But US is catching up. I think US always have the very first like technology innovation. Even with the battery technology, you and we all know this, many of the IP originated coming from US, but being commercialized and scaled up in China. So US is very good at innovation, like lab scale innovation, but US is lacking the piece of manufacturing. That's why you mentioned IRA, that US is trying to bring manufacturing back to US and North America. Europe, I would say, is moving fast, much faster than US on a lot of like mandate and also regulatory, like you have to convert a certain amount of green hydrogen to green hydrogen. You have to electrify. You have to like phase out a lot of internal combustion engines. And also another different thing I think is Europe is more open to the supply chain wise. For example, CATL already built several gigafactories in Europe, and also like come like Goshen, and then they're all like starting to move to Europe. So I think each continent have their own strategy, have their own pace, have their own like next focus goal to build, and they have their own race, have their own kind of electrification roadmaps to go. Yeah.
For sure, and I think there's one commonality, right? Is also you mentioned, a lot of IP developed, and that's maybe also connected with London, right? Also, quite a lot of the battery IP was also developed here in the UK. It was good enough, and others. So I think that's also exciting to see this link now with you, expanding more to Europe. And another quick topic also would be, I think it's quite fascinating if we, of course, a lot of the emerging markets like India, etc., in the battery space, right? I think there's a lot momentum there as well. I know we are limited on time, but one other last quick question I would have is, because we have a lot of startups listening in, and I was wondering, like, if they want to get investment, of course, there's also different approaches and grants, and people can do all kinds of ways. But we know, especially in the hard tech, and you're very strong, in the hard tech and deep tech. So, what are maybe the things you look out as an investor for a startup that you get excited about? What should startups have in mind if they want to go this journey and looking for funding?
Yeah, I think I would say we are also seeing more and more startups. So our podcast, Battery Associate, I will focus on battery. So we are seeing more and more startups working on different parts of the supply chain, new cathode, new anode, new electrolyte, even upper to the upstream lithium mining, direct lithium extraction, and also some of the lithium refinery process, or some of the synthesis directly from mine, or like your raw material without the precursor. So PCAM-free process directly to the cathode material. So new synthesis process and also new manufacturing process like dry coating. So a lot of opportunities there. Back to recycling to close the loop. I would say suggestion for the startup is that you want to know what is the state of the art, because some of the US, I haven't explored too much in the Europe yet. Some of the US startup, that what they're doing, they think they're solving a big problem, but they don't know that this problem has already been addressed in the top cell manufacturer. For example, there's startup working out, okay, I have one unique process I can reduce the formation time from like weeks long to only several days. But when I visit the factory in China, they can finish formation process in 30 minutes. And then some US startup, we're like working on inline inspection, QC inline inspection, that we can, collect all the data. But we want to do automation, but when you visit the tier 1 battery manufacturer, it's already fully automated with all the inline QC control. So many things that you think it's a problem is actually already no longer a problem. So make sure that you don't waste time on that. If you got the chance, go visit those top plants, either gigafactory in US or in China. In China, I would say, are moving ahead a little bit further. Understand the market, understand the true point, understand the true value you can bring to the ecosystem, and then start. Yeah.
Fantastic. No, really appreciate insight. I think there's a really valuable insights, and we appreciate you sharing this. I think you're really a true thought leader in the battery space, and especially on the finance perspective. And we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. And looking forward to continue the conversation as well.
Thank you.
In the future.
Hope we can collaborate more and then together help the battery community.
Perfect, thank you. And again, thank you so much for listening to Battery Insiders. My name is Dr. Sam Engelke, founder and chair of Battery Associates, and hopefully listening to soon again. Thanks for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.